I'm Sherry Lynn Phelps, Agronomy and Seed Program Manager with Saskatchewan Pulse Growers. It's a time of year when there's a lot of things that are going on with pulses, and growers are out monitoring their fields and making decisions when it comes to particularly insects and diseases. This year out in Western Canada here we have a lot of pulse acres that have gone in this year, and the pulses for the most part look really good. There are some fields that are being affected by the weather conditions, and unfortunately there's not much you can do about the weather. The crops that are looking good, though, are still being monitored, still considering fungicide applications, and whether or not to do second or even third fungicide applications. Those types of decisions are still being made. Spraying into heavy crop canopies that we have this year is always a challenge in trying to get the fungicides penetrating the canopy. Water volume is very important when it comes to that, so higher water volumes is the most critical thing. One of the other things that is of concern right now, and lots of reports of pea aphids, and pea aphids are a sucking insect that affect both peas and lentils, typically at a stage in their life cycle when the flowers are flowering and the pods are starting to form. So some of the crops are getting kind of past the stage, but there's a lot of crops that are still well within the period when they can be affected. The biggest disease threat with the faba beans is chocolate spot. So those fields are being monitored and fungicide applications being applied where warranted. Chocolate spot's a bit of a disease that we're just trying to get more of a handle on under Western Canadian conditions. It's the biggest disease problem in other places such as Australia that have a lot of faba beans. So we're just learning more about it here. In terms of scouting, it does look like little chocolate spots on the leaves, but it can also be confused with some herbicide injury or damage from surfactants, things like that. At this time of year, if you're seeing a lot of chocolate spot, it's almost getting to the point where it's too late. Once it's here, it's too late. So you've got to do a bit of a risk assessment, and under high humidity, and if you know that there's disease in the area from previous crops, then you would want to consider a fungicide application at that mid-flowering stage. Within the next month, there'll be a lot of peas that'll be hitting harvest time. So the next stage is switching gears and thinking of desiccation and getting ready for harvest. So when it comes with peas and lentils and other pulse crops as well, it's determining whether you want to do a pre-harvest application of something like glyphosate. If it's a real weedy field, then a pre-harvest application of a glyphosate product or a glyphosate mix could be warranted. If it's a clean field and they're looking at trying to speed up dry down, then desiccation products are ones to consider. So making those choices as you get closer to harvest is important, and deciding which one you're going to go with, because there's different application parameters with different products. So knowing what you're applying and when the most optimum time to apply to get the biggest effect is important. For more information, they can contact Saskatchewan Pulse Growers, but we also have an Ag Knowledge Centre within the province of Saskatchewan that producers can call to get information regarding pulses, as well as their local agronomists.
This video is brought to you by Farms.com.